morning, y'all. It's Timothy. I'm making another fucking video because I can make videos. I don't need someone's permission. I keep forgetting that at any point I can just whip out a camera and go on a rant for as long as I want. Moving on. 1 second. I fucking hate the topic whenever I've met someone who's wondered why the age of consent is where it is. Once I was laying in bed, there are nuances to the topic. There's plenty of nuance. I've had experiences where I've been in relationships that were statutory, but basically just an escape for abuse. And sadly, I've also known multiple girls who would do that. I remember one time I was laying in bed with a dude, and he was like 19, going on 20. And then he was smiling at me, and I was like, hey, I'm just wondering, what do you think is like, what's your opinion on the age of consent? Do you think it should be lower? And he said lower with a smile. And even though I was 17 and he had no idea that I was 17 at the time, I still thought, you gross piece of shit, why would you want to go lower? Because, okay, let me get into some more stories while I can. Because I can tell this video is going to make me angry, I'm going to make it anyway. It should not be lower. 18 is already a very young age. When I was 18, sure, I was happy because it's like, woohoo, I'm the legal age where I can fuck anybody I want for money, for power, just because I want to. I could fuck an old man, have his baby, and get rich, and just live in the Bahamas for the rest of my life, do some life-changing shit with my pussy. Or I could just have sex with any fucking loser I want. Any good guy, bad guy. I could just throw my cat at any fucking body and chuck that shit across the room and just booyah. But even then, as I got older, I was like, whew, wow, I was really 18, fucking a 29-year-old. I was 18, fucking a 22-year-old. I was 18, fucking a 26-year-old, 60-year-olds, plenty of shit. It's already like a young-ass age, and I know because I'm fucking 21, turning 22 soon. And if an 18-year-old came up to me right now and was like, do you want to have sex? I'd say, no, you're like a baby. Weren't you just finishing your SATs a second ago? You've got a lot to achieve in your life. You think you're old now, but then a few years will pass and you'll be like, holy shit, I was a baby. I didn't know shit. I was too young to go through what I went through. And I feel like not enough people do that. Like when my mother had her experience where sadly she was pregnant at that age by some fucking disgusting 29-year-old rapist. Fuck him. Well, he's dead. He's dead. Thank God. Sorry, I shouldn't, he was a rapist. And she was not his only victim. Sure, it wasn't an instance of grooming, they met in a nightclub or something. But halfway through, when my sister and brother were younger, they found out they had a half brother from a girl who was 15 or 16 and knew that same asshole. And he pretty much knocked her up, aka raped her. Sexual assault. It's still not consensual if she's underage, by the way. I don't care how horny that teenager is, you keep your fucking hands off her because that's a child right there. She has so much to achieve in your life. Don't fuck kids. I don't care if she's got puberty, birth control, big ass tits. I don't care. That's a child. Leave them alone. You fucking weirdos. And he had the nerve to be my mom was like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant. I can't believe it. And he had the nerve to be like, oh yeah, that's crazy. She's hella young, right? You nigga, you were the one who got her pregnant. See, and also the thing I hate about society is that they'll fucking shame women for being promiscuous at a young age. But it's I feel like they're not doing enough to actually slam down on the people who are actually being perverts and pedophiles and rapists. Why are you keeping that guy who molested your kid in the family and being like, oh, he's a family friend, we care about him so much? Because you think the girl's disposable. Because you think her life doesn't have any fucking value and doesn't matter. Fuck that shit. Moving on. This also goes for both genders. I knew this bitch in high school, and I'm gonna say her full fucking name. Because honestly, fuck her. I sympathized with her when I was her friend, and I first met her, but we stopped being friends 2 weeks later because she was batshit crazy. She already told me a lot of things when we first met. She said that, in the first 2 days of knowing her, I already knew that she had been put in a mental asylum for threatening to kill her fucking adoptive mother. Cool. I knew that she also pressured her mother to give her drugs at a young age. Sure, it was weed, but it's still if you walk up to your white adoptive mother, excuse me, and you're like, hey, bitch, so guess what? You better buy me this weed and give it to me consistently, or else, for all you know, I could be doing weed in a back alley and I could get laced and I could die or get raped by strangers. And you say shit like that to manipulate your mom into buying you weed. Yes, you probably need the weed so you can chill the fuck out, crazy bitch, but girl. And then third, I learned that she was, how old was she at the time? I believe she was 17 and had a 12-year-old boyfriend. Or was he young? Ooh, not her first 12-year-old boyfriend anyway. I will say this. I know that she had self-esteem issues because she was like a plus-size girl. She was a big girl. And, she had been bullied most of her life and a whole bunch of shit. That doesn't excuse the fact that if you think you can't pull niggas your own age or whatever, why are you going to a middle school? That's what gets me about people who are like, ooh, why shouldn't the age of consent be lower? 18 is young enough. Your own age is just perfectly fine. Why do you want to go lower? The reason people go lower is usually specifically because they want to manipulate someone younger than them. They know they're not that smart. They know they haven't been through a lot in life. Or at least they know, like, it could be any fucking reason, but usually the reason is always inherently pedophilic. Ooh, I like them because their bodies are tighter and firmer. No, you just like them because they're budding breasts and they're perky and young and tiny, but that's because you were raised to believe in like pedophilic beauty standards. That hairless is good. That being firm everywhere is supposedly the right way to be. No, that's what your body just looks like when it's leaving the stage of childhood. What the fuck is pedophilic beauty standards? You think, ooh, they're not that smart, so I can do whatever I want to them. You think, ooh, I just want to lead them to a better path. Dudes their age are shitty. They need a real man or woman. No, they need someone their own age. Like, trust me, I've been with older men at multiple points in my life and talked to them. And usually I would still think, this dude's pathetic. He's just older. You aren't some sort of mentor or intelligent. And also, it's because you can't get bitches your own age. They always act like they're doing someone a favor, like, ooh, I'm stopping him from the bullshit that young ladies pull on him. No, you're not. You're just putting him through more bullshit. You toxic, abusive bitch. Shazia Bartlett, if you ever see this video, go fuck yourself. I just want you off this planet. Oh, sorry. I'm just remembering that. And I just hate that. I was going through a lot of shit, but I really hate that I didn't think sooner. I should report this girl to the police. Because... let me continue with this video before I start blowing gaskets. And also, her excuse was the Romeo and Juliet law. If I recall correctly, the Romeo and Juliet law, it means, one, you had to have gone to school together. So that doesn't count if your boyfriend's in middle school, or just like if your boyfriend's in the 6th fucking grade and you're about to exit high school. That is not the Romeo and Juliet law. The Romeo and Juliet law is for people who are like, oh yeah, we're childhood best friends who grew up together. Like, I'm 16, he's 18, and we've been like super close, or are even in the same fucking grade. Like, I just got put in school late, he got put in school, like one of those situations. That's off the bat. And also, it's for 2 years apart, maximum. So that it's not like, oh, hey, I'm a senior in high school that can legally fuck my freshman girlfriend. No, it's not for you. It's for the people who are within the age gaps where it's not too fucking weird to be together. So why is your boyfriend 12 and you are going to turn 18? And what sucks is my fucking special ed teacher at the school. Oh, man. Oh, I don't know which. I'll just say this. Some more excuses that bitch had was, oh, well, he's 6 foot tall, so he looks older and he's very mature for his age. He's 12. That child is tall, yes, and 12. Like, yeah, I'll admit, I saw him and I was like, damn, that's a big ass nigga. But that's a 12-year-old motherfucker. Why are you... I hope she's gonna burn in hell. Because she's done a lot of shit, and I've seen some shit that they've done. There's a whole Instagram account that she showed me of the shit, and I wish I still had it, but I'm pretty sure I just blocked it as soon as possible because I was like, why the fuck would you? She's just a crazy bitch. I also knew this specific group of friends I was friends with when I was in fucking, like, fresh out of high school, but I still was friends with some college kids that were in the range between like 23, 25, that age range, and they would bicker with me, an 18-year-old, on why the age of consent should be lower. I'm 22 and I'm already like, why would I want to fuck someone younger? They don't have their life together. So if you really are that older than me and thinking I want to fuck people who are in high school or middle school just because their bodies are firmer and I can be like even more attractive to them because I'm older and more mature, you are not mature at all. Just so much shit. I could go on about this topic for hours. I wish you knew how much it's boiling my blood just to remember this shit. But I was like, well, yeah, why would you? I'll just say it's intentional. The reason I'm like, no, they are like, less intelligent. They still have a lot to learn in life. And I just don't think it would be good to be with them. That's because I see people younger than me as like valuable people, not sex objects to take advantage of. So someone who's like, I want to fuck and do whatever I want to someone and have them stick by me no matter what. That's why they target the young ones. That's why there's 12-year-old girls I knew in fucking middle school who would be like, yeah, I have an 18-year-old boyfriend and a 30-year-old boyfriend and a 32-year-old boyfriend. And then we'd all be thinking, bitch, you're a victim. Because sadly, no, you're not in the position of power you think you are. If anything, I think you're being like sexually trafficked by those 3 men who know what they're doing and probably know about each other. They probably even recommended each other to you. No. I wish it was less normalized for young boys and girls to get like sexually abused and molested like this. I wish someone did something. Because my teacher even had that fucking kid come to school on Shazia's birthday and fucking bring flowers and cake with the mom and shit. Like, why was the mom okay with it? But the mom's fucking pathetic. I just wish people did better. But yes, if you're ever like, oh, why is that super old man with that young girl? Or why is that old? Like, sorry, there's so much I could talk about the topic. I'm just making this video as just like a fluid thought video, just so I can get it out of my head. For example, let's say his name, Ramon. Ramon, you're so fucking lucky that in this moment I don't remember your full name, but the second I do, I'm fucking airing you out. Let's just say he was trying to debate with me over, like, why he should be able to fuck people younger than 17. Mind you, he's, like, in the range between 23, 25. So already grown as fuck. And then me and him almost dated. But for a lot of reasons, we didn't. It, like, just the first date we had, he already brought like a bunch of alcohol to the first date and he drunk it by himself. We went to a kid's park just to vibe because he didn't really want to spend money on the date. Red flag number 1. He drunk it all by himself. Red flag number 2. He punched me in the face twice. And then sadly, because I was stupid, I thought, maybe I should give this guy a second chance and a second date and maybe try again with him. And that's why they go for young girls, because we're fucking stupid. But then he kept trying to, and he also on the date told me about how he almost sexually assaulted a girl, but who was drunk in his house. And young me did not know how to process that past just, it's good that you didn't. And he was like, oh, thank you, you're the only girl I've told. And moving on. That girl was okay, by the way. He was just talking about an intrusive thought or hypothetical thing he's done. But then later on, he asked me into a bunch of shit, like saying, oh yeah, maybe we should be a couple, trying to love bomb me and instantly say, oh yeah, we should start a relationship as soon as possible because I really love you and adore you, girl, after the first date. And I just said, okay, if that's the case, when can I meet your parents? And then he instantly reneged his offer because it's like, you don't really want to tell your very, well, let's just say we were a different race. He was Asian, I was black, or I am black. My race didn't change. And there was already that, but also having to admit that, oh yeah, I'm with this like barely legal 18-year-old to your family. Nice. Not pathetic at all. Wink, wink. Moving on. In addition to that, what was the thing? Oh yeah, he then reneged his offer on a relationship as soon as I said that I would not be into consensual, non-consensual. And if you don't know what that is, it's a sexual kink where you pretend to be raped. And I even told him, yeah, I don't have an interest in doing that for a lot of reasons. Also because I've been actually assaulted, and he had the whatever then reaction to it or trying to make me feel guilty. And that's usually what they want. They want a young girl who will feel guilty or try their best to do anything to keep him around. Like see him as the light of the world when he's really just like a alcoholic piece of shit with no redeemable qualities and is basically an incel and all that shit. Moving on, we were going to schedule a second date. I said, how about just a second date so we can really think this through? And somehow I was still fucking excited for that date. What can I say? I was autistic and 18 and I'm bored and just wanted to get out the house and thought, I can change him. My little I can change him mindset was stuck. Just for him to like on the morning of basically cancel it. And then later on, I found out that he fucked someone younger than me. So it's like technical cheating, but not really. But even then it's gross because it's like, I even talked to him about the girl. I was like, hey, I met this chick on Reddit. She seems super cool. I'm so excited to have a friend that's actually around my age and has a lot in common with me. It makes me so happy. And the nigga really just heard that and was like, yeah, and just looking for the girl's account, adding her and then messaging her to ask to hook up. In the hookup, me and this girl, we actually got to talking. Long story short, I don't want to... Let's just say he got to do his kink when she was not consenting, in a way. She doesn't exactly call it rape, but she just says that, like, he did a bunch of shit. He just kept demanding that she say her age over and over again. Like, say you're 17, say you're 17. Oh, fuck, say you're 17. He kept asking her to, he basically just kept shoving her face into the bed, slapping her around, like, basically laughing in her face when she said it hurt her to stop, and then refusing to stop, and just being super rough with her, pulling her hair, and just going too hard. And then at the end, when she said to stop, just basically laughing in her face, slapping her some more, than leaving, and then had the nerve to try and ask her to do that again with him, despite knowing that she was obviously uncomfortable, because he just thought, it was fun for him. And that's exactly what I don't want. Like, and I'm gonna say it, the age of consent thing exists for a reason. It's so that we cannot have more teenage girls killing themselves because older men want to take advantage of them. Especially, or really young girls getting pregnant. It's already a trending case about how a 10-year-old girl in Ohio is going to be forced to have a man's baby. And some people are saying it's not rape. I don't know how to say this to you, but if you're fucking a 10-year-old, it's still rape. There's, like, I hate it so much. I hate that society has fucked with people's heads enough. Like, okay, like, let's say I was a 10. I was pretty horny when I was 10. I had a high sex drive for whatever reason. But I already knew that any teacher who flirted with me or tried to come on to me was a fucking pervert or weird or definitely should not have been doing that. I still side-eye one specific middle school teacher and some of the shit he did to me to this day. Because it's like, even if I was thinking, this teacher is attractive, what matters is the teacher does not look back at an actual 10-year-old or 12-year-old or 15-year-old or 17-year-old and go, oh yes, I'd fuck them too. That's no. Like, there's a reason grooming is a bad thing. You can't just wait for, like, keep telling people what to do. Or young kids. You can't tell young kids what to do to, like, have the most amazing partnership in the world and to be submissive this, be masculine that, and then lure them with all this gross sexual talk and just creepy behavior. And then the second they're 18, just be like, hey, maybe you should get into porn. Maybe you should, like, have sex with me. Maybe I should be someone you should date. Like, no. Sorry, I think if I could, like, rule a country, the first thing I do is make pedophilia, like, a killable offense. Like, just instantly. Like, if you are known to be a pedophile, if you touch that fucking kid, if you were talking to one for years and years and years, just waiting for the day that they finally turn to 18 on the dot, so that you would get beheaded. I'm sorry, that is what I want. Because fuck you. And also, these types of dudes never stop at, like, there's not a cutoff age for them. If anything, people who, like, fuck specifically at, like, 18 are just letting you know they'd go lower if they could. And I know. Because, hell, when I was talking, more than, like, this one guy was talking to me. This one guy on Tumblr, his username was Sad Divorced Dad. He used to talk to me, and he was in his 40s or whatever, talking basically about, like, he's so lonely after his divorce, and and about how hard it is to deal with his twin girls and shit. Just to also start messaging me some creepy shit, saying how he saw me as beautiful and gorgeous and stunning, and even though he never saw my photos, but claiming I was. And then describing all the sexual shit he did to me, knowing that I was, like, 15, 16 at the time, and saying, I even have screenshots of a very long message on his phone he sent me about how he'd specifically lick my pussy. And if you're wondering, no, I did not initiate anything or react back. I just, if anything, was like, is this guy flirting with me? And I just asked him what he meant. And then he sent me an extremely long descriptive message about wanting to eat my pussy out, which is incredibly creepy. It was like that weird thing where it's like, I'm like 15 and this is creepy, but I'm flattered. Am I? Is this flattering or is this disgust? I don't feel good. I think I'm gonna throw up if I keep talking to this guy. And me and him fell off for a bit until I remembered. And then years later, a lot of shit happened, but I'll also just say this. Years later, I made an Instagram account. I think when I was like 16, 17 or so. Something like that. And I had friends who were around the same age as me. Like between the age of like 14 to, I'd say, the oldest people who followed me were like 17. Like, that was the age group. He followed me. I forget how he even got my Instagram, but it must have been when I forgot he was a pervert and he started following me and checking on my life, until he started following girls younger than me and started following girls I knew. And I remember specifically the second I saw him follow like a 14-year-old girl I knew, I just messaged him like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And then he was like, oh, I'm sorry. What, I can't talk to your friends? Is that bad to do? I was like, yes, that's bad to do. It's extremely creepy. What the fuck are you up to? And then he instantly unfollowed. And then I think after a while I had blocked him, but still followed him on like one page just because I knew it one day maybe I'd have the courage to like stand up to him. And I did. I believe that right when the pandemic was happening and I was 20, I finally got the nerve to just be like, hey, so I remember all those weird sexual messages you sent to me and you trying to follow my friends and shit. And I just think that's really fucking weird and you gotta stop that shit because you could get fucking arrested for it. And I still have all your photos and information so I could really fuck you up. And then he was like, whoa, what are you doing? None of that happened. I don't know what you're talking about. And then the second I sent him all like 18 different fucking photos and screenshots and hella shit, he instantly blocked me and deactivated like all his accounts on all platforms. Fuck him. And the sad thing is that same little 14-year-old girl, well, okay, like later on they told me, oh, I met this really cool guy, they're so amazing and cool. And then I was like, oh, how so? They told me, oh, he has a yacht, he lives in this cool mansion and house and all this shit. And then as she was telling me more, I was like, okay, this guy definitely isn't 18, or like he's just definitely not young. And I asked her how old he was. She said something like 26, 28 or whatever. And I tried to tell her, like, that's not a good age. No, he's older, honey. That's pedophilia. She was like, what? That's not pedophilia. I came on to him. Look at me. I'm not a child, obviously. Look at my body. I'm curvy. I'm consenting. I'm down for it. So what's the problem? But then she would describe to me, like, later on, oh, yeah, he just only hits me up when he wants to have sex. I come over, he has sex with me, immediately kicks me out, doesn't care how I feel. And then I keep trying to talk to him and keeps giving dry answers. And I didn't know how to say, honey, you are really being used by a rich, older man who is sexually abusing you and using you as a fuckhole. And that is exactly why the age of consent laws are established, so that there's not just dudes out here abandoning teenage mothers and leaving them to fend for themselves as they get to do reckless, disgusting acts like this. Also, how pathetic must you really be for you to be like, oh yes, I'm a 29-year-old man, I am rich and I have all this money and shit, and then you just decide, oh, like that's what I mean when there's never truly a cutoff for motherfuckers like this. They'll see an 18-year-old girl, like half their age or something, or no, not half their age. Well, let's just say almost half their age, and then be like, yes, this girl is totally banging, and then they'll see that girl's younger friend who's 16 and be like, give it a few years, no one needs to know, keep it on the low. Then they see that 16-year-old friend's 14-year-old sister, and they're like, well, look at her body, she's curvy, she's asking for it, she likes my attention, so what, she likes my swagger. Then they see that 12-year-old, and they will just keep going as long as they can, as low as they can in age numbers, with as many excuses as they can figure out. And that's why grooming slides under the radar and pedophilia, as long as you just keep enabling shit like, oh yeah, my 14-year-old daughter is dating this like 30-year-old man, we have no problem with it. Like, you'll just realize there's a trend. They never stop. They keep going lower. And they enjoy having someone who's under them who they see as stupid, or who they see as like younger, or like they like the idea that no matter how pathetic they are, they know that some kid who's in like in a shitty abusive home, or who's struggling or just going through shit, will look at them and be like, holy shit, look at this older guy, I'm flattered, I didn't know I was attractive. Like, they'll go for the pimply faced fucking acne covered teenagers with fucking body issues. They'll go for those, and then they'll be like, oh yes, see, I think you're so cool, I think you're so amazing, look at me, I have a car, you look so mature for your age. They'll reaffirm everything, because teenagers need someone to rely on and to be vulnerable with. And the second they can get that in a person, then they can, like, that's why cults exist. The second you can get like a young, impressionable mind who's naive, you can mold them into whatever the fuck you want. You can take their brain and just shape it into whatever you need. And that's why some people just get away with so much with grooming and pedophilia. Because they know, if as long as this person's weaker than me and dumber than me and looks as young as possible, then I can keep doing whatever the fuck I want. It's a really sick game. Especially because it's like, God, so much is wrong with it. This topic is really giving me a headache. I'll probably make another video on it soon, but let's just say it shouldn't be a thing in the first place. It should not be a thing. If you ever see someone who's like, why is the age of consent, like, why shouldn't it be lower? Just say one of two things. Say, because they don't want more teenage girls to kill themselves, or because they don't want more teenage girls to be single mothers. And then ask them, do you like when teenage girls are single mothers? Do you appreciate seeing like a super young girl with an extremely old man or older dude, and knowing that she's there, like usually without her full consent, just because she's desperate, or just because he like cut her off from her family, or because he knew he could get away with anything he wanted to her? Those are the main reasons. Also, stop fetishizing obvious pedophilia cases too. Stop trying to victim blame the women and the girls and the fucking babies. Stop that shit. Stop whatever weird competitions you have with your daughters for thinking that they're trying to steal your boyfriends. No, your boyfriends are probably just pedophilic rapists who think, ooh, like, just no, stop. And also, if you're dating someone who obviously just keeps trading out any wife they get for young models, that is inherently a pedophilic standard. Otherwise, they'd stick with the people they were with within an appropriate age range, not trying to aim for whoever looks the youngest for longest, you know? That's why people are creeped out by Leonardo DiCaprio repeatedly dating girls who are between 18 and 21. Like, come on now. All this shit's connected. Also, my high school teacher, she's done a lot of shit. Oh God, I gotta piss. So I'll wrap this up quick. I'll just say, she was the type of person to see Lalita, a story about a fucking young ass girl obviously being targeted, groomed, molested, repeatedly raped, and a whole bunch of shit, all while she was kidnapped and like abused, as a romance story. And people like that, including women, are the reason this shit continues. Fuck that. Anyway, that's all. Peace out.